tired, cause I'm the definition of tragedy turned triumph. It's David and Goliath.
Alright guys, what we're going to go through today is we're going to run through the testing and the testing protocols and the rules for it for the next 2 days. So we're going to first run through the deadlift, and then I'll explain what you should and shouldn't do and how to set up for it and the best way to attack it as well. The first thing we're going to run through is the setup. So I'll get Emma to set up, and you should have about 7 to 9 attempts at your 1RM. Your reps should go no more than 3. So you should look at the weight you want to hit and then reverse back from there. So if you're looking at a 200 kilo deadlift like Emma's going to do, we're going to look at going backwards from 200. So don't overshoot. Your second last lift should be your known 1RM, and your last lift should be the one you're going to hit your new one. So work back from your dream 1RM. Okay, so as we set up, we're going to lock our shoulder blades in nice and tight, lock our abs in nice and tight. We're going to push our feet through the ground, squeeze our bum at the top, push our bum back. Remember, the bar has right away the entire way back down. All right, and you notice that she didn't drop the bar, so the rep will not count at all if you drop the bar. The only time you're allowed to let go is once the bar's past the bottom of your patella or your knee. And then you can drop it down. Right, and that's the only rep that will count. Right, so the next of the tests, and these tests should run in order, so just to make sure you've got your deadlift first, which is our lower body strength exercise. We're going to do max bodyweight pull-ups, which is our upper body strength exercise. And just so you're aware, bodyweight pull-ups we do for a couple of reasons. The first reason, we're looking at testing your upper body strength. The second, there's a very good correlation between the number of reps you do and your actual speed, like your sprint ability. And the only two populations that doesn't actually transfer over to a sprint wrestlers and cyclists for some reason, because of their weird hamstrings. And the last thing is your body composition. So the more pull-ups you get, it means that you have more functional mass. All right, so for the bodyweight pull-ups, the setup is exactly like this. You're going to stand underneath the bar. You're going to start from a dead hang position. It means that your arms are straight. There is no bend in your elbows. Your feet cannot cross over and your feet can't touch the ground. All right, so it needs to be a complete dead hang, and your chin must go over the bar. All right, so either chest touching the bar or chin goes over, like whatever happens in between there. And then you must drop back down to full overhead position. It means your elbows must lock out. All right, we'll show you 5 reps, and these are the only reps that'll count. You'll notice that Lewis has got his thumb wrapped around the bar as well. All right, that's a must. Good. All right, a couple of things that we're going to be looking for next is that as soon as the knees come up past the hip, that's a no rep. All right, we're also not allowing any type of kipping or any type of convulsion type of movement, so no swinging and kipping over. So I'll get Lewis to do a couple of like semi-kipping reps. You notice his knees come up past his hips, we can't do, and then just do like a little bicycle without your knees coming up. Or whatever that is too. All right. So we're making sure that it's a strict pull-up. Anything outside of those first 5 reps should not count. And lastly, on your grip, you can go overhand, underhand. You can change while you're up there, but you can't come down and change over. Your feet cannot touch the ground during the entire test. All right? So if you feel like you can go over grass and then you want to swap under grass during the whole test, that's fine, but you cannot touch the ground. All right? It must be on a straight bar. It can't be on anything other. All right? Overhand or underhand. All right?
All right, guys, the next test is a 30-second assault bike, max calories. The way we're going to run this, so that everyone has everyone's results are similar, is we're going to start from a totally blank screen. So when you look at the screen, double stop, make sure there's no digits on there, the clock's not running or anything else. We'll count Kate in. She's not going to do it now, but we'll count her in. We'll say 3, 2, 1. She'll start. The computer will start, and it'll start ticking down. We watch the clock until it hits 30 seconds. As soon as it hits 30 seconds, she'll pull her feet off and her hands off, rest them there, and it'll roll on. We'll take the number at the end of the roll on. So the person who's watching her, make sure her feet come off at 30 seconds. Everything stops at 30 seconds. The clock will roll on for another maybe, you know, a couple of cals, depending on how fast you're going. That'll be your total score. This is one of those things where there's not too many tips I can kind of give you for it. You just go absolutely as hard as you can from the start. Don't try and pace it. Don't think you'll be able to pace it. Just go hard. You'll get to a point probably about 15, 20 seconds in where you don't think you can go any harder. Cruise through a little bit for 5 seconds and then empty the tank on the last bit. Just go as hard as you can. I close my eyes. All right, so the next test is the 2K ski. We want to set this up so we can get some data off the back of it out of the memory. The way you're going to go is you'll just hit memory to turn it on. Select workout, new workout, single distance, and then tick the box at 2K. From there, as soon as we pull the handles, it'll start. The 2K is one of my favourite tests. I've done it a fair few times, although my scores seem to be dropping as I get older. But the way I would suggest to attack it is, firstly, pick a number that you think you can hit. So if you're looking at hitting a 7-minute 2K, for example, your pace, your average pace across the 7 minutes will be 145 per 500. So that's the sort of biggest number that you're looking at on the screen. The way I'd do is I'd break it down to 500 metre efforts. I would be 5 seconds under your projected pace for the first 500. So if your average pace is a 145, you'd be looking at it in your first 500 at a 140. I'd try and hold the middle 2 500s out at 145 pace, so bang on. That way for the last quarter you have 5 seconds per 500 metres to play with. So if you're really struggling and you slow down a little bit, you're still going to be on pace for your 7 minutes. If you feel good, you just go hard. To be honest, for me, when I get to about 300 metres to go, I just kind of go as hard as I can, finish it off. It always, that kind of, the way I break it down and have done for the last kind of 10 years has always sort of worked for me as a bit of a plan. So the fifth and final test of the 98 testing will be 50 box jumps for time. So again, similar with burpees and all that kind of things, there's a few different standards of box jump and how people do in different gyms. In this gym, the male height is 24 inch, the female height will roll it over at 20. That's for the testing. With it, we're doing a jump up and a step down, and the hips must be fully open at the top. So Louis will jump up, full extension at the top, stand up straight and step down. That's one. Nice. If he jumps up and doesn't fully extend at the top, like this next one, that's a no rep. If he jumps up and jumps back down again, that's a no rep. That's it. The box jump standard is jump up, step down. They'll be the only reps that are counted.
Right, so the best way to attack your 1RM deadlift is it's not like a normal session where you're going to go in for 5 sets of 5 or 5 sets of 3. Your rest should look a lot different than it usually does. So we're talking about as soon as you're sitting above 75% of your 1RM, and that should be about, it'd probably be about three sets in. So you're starting about 45% of your 1RM, and the reason we start fairly high is because you're only hitting 3 reps. You're going no more than 3 reps per lift, and then you're going to go to 2 reps, and you'll probably only do 2 reps once because that's fairly close to your 90%, and we don't want to overload your body, so we don't want to miss the 1RM. The rest can look between, I'd say from about 80 to 85% onwards, 3 to 5 minutes of rest. Remember, we're not trying to get a workout here, we're trying to test your 1RM, so the lift, the best lift you can do just once. This session could take 45 minutes. All right, just to do your 1RM, depending on your training age, and by training age I mean how long you've actually been lifting and training for as opposed to your biological age. Your last lift, depending on your gender as well, a male can generate a 1RM and then place 200 grams on the bar, won't be able to get off the ground. Females can repeat their 1RM 2 or 3 times, and that's just because of the hormone profile. So when you're sitting around 90, 95% and you hit your lift, don't go and throw 5 kilos on either side. You're looking at small increments to get where you want to go. So on the day, what you'll see, and you'll see it in the, on the board when you test, and you'll also see it for the online members, you'll see it logged up there on your phone, is a complete breakdown percentage-wise as to how you should attack your 1RM. You'll need to work out via your weight you want to hit, the percentages to correlate. But if you attack it the way that we've programmed it out, you're guaranteed to have a better day than if you just sort of guess your way through it. So once you completed your deadlift part, the 1RM, we generally rest between 5 and 10 minutes before we hit the next test. Now, depending on the individual, depending on how much time you've got, this will all depend on your lifestyle on the day. We spend 2 days testing. So after your deadlift, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then you attack your bodyweight pull-ups. Lots of people are going to think that their grip is going to suffer. It's not. You're going to take, due to the time it takes to actually pull a heavy deadlift, your system that you use, your ATP system, will completely recharge by 30 minutes. So at the worst case scenario, if you think you're really worried that you're not going to get your best, you can wait 15, 20, 30 minutes and you'll be 100% good to go. At the end of those pull-ups, again, you can wait another 15, 20 minutes to attack your 30-second assault bike. Mind you, you'll probably you'll probably do better on the assault bike because you've just done a 1RM deadlift, and that's because your central nervous system is primed as well. So try not to let it wait for too long from exercise to exercise. 15 to 20 minutes is about the maximum of time you'd like. Then from there, you go home. We're going to then test the next day, the last 2 tests. So and nutritionist Harriet Walker has put an article up for everyone to have a look at, and it explains everything you need to know to how to attack the testing. So on day 2, you're going to attack your 2K ski, your 2K row, or your 8-minute assault bike or 8-minute concept 2 bike. It depends on what you're going to do. You're not doing both, you're doing one of those. All right? So it's either a 2K ski, a 2K row, or the 8-minute bike. If you're doing the 8-minute bike, then it's either on the assault bike, we're looking for max calories. If you're doing the concept 2 bike, you're going for max meters. Remember, after that, depending on how you feel, you may want to wait 25, 30 minutes. It's up to you where you put the box jumps. Personally, I would put the box jumps last so you can have the best possible chance of nailing your 2K or your bike. After that break, then into the box jumps, and again, that last test is going to hurt the most and your legs are going to feel it 100%. There's no real way to game the box jumps apart from trying to get through 50 reps as quick as you can. The only thing I guess I can say on that is that your legs will hurt. So you've got the 2K ski, 2K row, or you've got an 8-minute assault bike or an 8-minute bike erg. For the assault bike, you're looking at max calories in 8 minutes, and for your bike erg, you're looking for max amount of meters. Again, how you attack this is going to be very, very individual. The stronger you are, the better this is going to be, and the reason I say that is because the bike is fixed in terms of the assault bike. So if you're a smaller male or female, the assault bike may not be the best thing for you. You may want to pick the bike erg. However, depending on what you have at your disposal, it'll either be the ski, the row, or the bikes. It's up to you. Okay, so it's very important that you do test, and the reason that I say that is because you don't know where you are unless you test. And it's very, very hard to know where you should be going if you don't know where to start. So we really enjoy and we really look forward to everyone testing, whether you're in here in the gym or you're out there online. The data we get influences the program. So the things that you send into us helps us and influences where we push the program, whether it's strength-based or conditioning-based. So it's really great, and we really need everyone to test. The idea behind it is that if the deadlift numbers and the body weight numbers all tend to trend up in one way, then I know that we can look at maintenance in terms of strength, and if the ski or the row or the numbers and the conditioning things are on their way down, then we can work a little bit harder on that. If everything trends the way it should be trending, which it looks like it is already, then we just continue going. Right? Remember that testing is only a snapshot of one single day. So you may have had a really good week last week, or you may have another really good week the week after, and your testing may not go as planned. That's normal. Don't be stressed, don't be worried. You're not comparing yourself to anyone else unless you really want to. And the reason we test, again, is only to see where you are on that single day.
We're just going to have a chat to a few of the guys from Team 98 on how they'd attack their testing. We'll have one person talk about each one. I think it's good to get a bit of sort of inside info on how each person attacks it. Everyone does it differently. You might just pick one thing out of here that you can use. I'm going to start by explaining the assault bike. It's like I sort of said when I talked you through the explanation of how we would do it. I'd say it's the sort of a very mindless test. You just kind of get on there and go as hard as you can. For me, I go as hard as I possibly can. I don't look at the number, I don't look at anything else, I just go as hard as I possibly can until my legs feel empty. I'll generally have a look down at the screen. It always tells me that it's about 18 to 20 seconds. I just kind of then just close my eyes, empty the tank as hard as I can and fall off. I know that's very untechnical, but it's the only kind of way I've looked at trying to pace it where I've broken it down into 10-second intervals, or I've looked at thinking, right, I really want to try and be at this stage by 15 seconds in, and every time I've tried to break it down, I've always done worse. The best I've ever done is where I've not thought about it, just held on and gone for my life. We'll pass it on to Kate now to talk about her 2K ski.
Hey, so I approach a 2K ski. First thing I do is I remind myself it's a one effort. So all the ESDs and all the IWTs we do multiple efforts. So even when you say yourself, oh, it's a max effort, in the back of your mind, it's still kind of there that I have 3 more max efforts to go. This is one. And you need to approach it like just one, or I approach it like just one max effort. As I ski, because it's set up, I watch my pace a little bit. I'm more aware of my projected finish, which is a littler number down the bottom. I'll watch that, and it'll always start way faster than I intend to, but I'll watch that and just make sure it doesn't creep up too high. It's the longest test we've got, anywhere between, depending on how fast you are, 6.5 to 8.5, 9 minutes. When I get towards the end, and I know when I can see that I've got 300 meters left, that's when I just suck it up and close my eyes and go, because it means you've got about a minute to go, and then you can spend all the time you want on the floor.
All right, so 50 box jumps for time. I think it's pretty simple as well. Like, you can't cheat it and you can't really cut any reps. So I've done it a couple times, and from watching people testing as well, the same thing happens every time. Is everyone starts really quick, and it's that magic 20 to 30 rep range where everyone just hits a wall, all their energy and all the lactic starts to hit. So the ones that I've seen do good times, they've hold a consistent pace from start to finish. And then besides that, it's what I would call like the reset to going into the next jump. So if someone from the top of the box comes down, steps back, and then goes into it, like, that's precious seconds that add on to each rep. So as soon as you come down, set yourself, and then just try and get into the next rep as quick as you can.
All right, so for the deadlift, for me, it takes me quite a while to warm into this. Like, a 1 rep max for some people is a bit scary. But as long as you warm up properly, I think you'll totally nail it. So for me, I spend about 10 minutes on the assault bike, and it's a moderate pace. I'm not going hard out, I'm just getting really warm, my nervous system's fired up. I warm up quite quickly. I spend about 10 minutes just working through those threes, because I need quite a lot of rest between my 1 efforts. My numbers change quite a lot. They vary from each time I test, obviously same for everybody. But I can generally get a vibe. Once I'm doing those threes, I can really get, kind of gauge what I'm going to be working up to. And then when I'm on my singles, I'll take 2 to 3 minutes rest. That works for me, and I think it's important that you remember that. It's not just a muscular test, it's a central nervous system test as well. So you really need to take advantage of that rest, don't rush through it, and have that goal in mind, and anything on top of that is a bonus. Just make sure that when you get to those really heavy reps, you're not jumping up big numbers. For me, when I get to about 90, I'm just putting on fractionals, and I'm resting 2 to 3 minutes between the efforts at the end.
I think when it comes to pull-ups, one of the biggest things I see is that grip is the first thing to fail. So I would suggest getting chalk on your hands first. You don't want that to be a limiting factor. And for me, it really comes down to building a rhythm. Again, you don't want to be caught hanging at the bottom of your pull-up for a long period of time because your grip will fail first. Try and get into a really easy rhythm. Use your breath. I don't like to have a number in my head because I find that once I hit that number, I'm more likely to think I'm just going to drop off at the end of that, so I try and push past it. And just know that if you get to the halfway point of your pull-up, chances are you are going to make that last bit, so really go hard.